Welcome to NBNR, the authority on unfiltered opinions and authentic player insight for Nebraska athletics. Connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and at nbnrpodcast.com.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
You know, we just really love Utter. He's a junkyard dog.
Kenny Bell ran up to me. He's like, you know what you just did?
You get mad when you go get in the portal and go to another podcast?
You know, usually dumbbells are in pairs. They had 5 dumbbells.
Dang on it, Muhammad!
GBR. Kyle! Good shit.
Thank you.
Good job, buddy. Congratulations. You're good at your job.
Thank you.
Go Big Red indeed. No block, no rock. Season 3, episode 45. Mike's holding up the 5 like I don't know. Like I've messed up before.
Yes, you actually have.
Shut up.
Some people do their job correctly.
Fair enough.
That's Kyle, and sometimes me.
Yeah, with your phone going off. We are in the Nebraska Brewing Company tap room. Like always, drinking some brews. Fellas, let's go around and talk about what we're drinking. I myself, the Dirty 30. 2.
Old ass motherfucker.
Shut up. 3%, 3.8.
It's like-
under
You said
4.
4.2, right?
It's like around the 3.8 to 4.2. I don't know.
Somewhere in there.
Listen,
It's close enough.
Give or take.
It's not high.
Yeah.
It's not high.
I just want something light, something classy. Won't get me too Mikey. You know what I mean?
Well, that's targeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toss me out, boy.
Not yet. We're working on it.
I'm just going to move his chair back 15 yards.
Yep.
Kyle, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the Dirty 32. Well, I mean,
Well, hold on.
Whoa.
You're Dirty 29?
28.
Oh,
28.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to drag this out. It's just good beer.
It's good beer.
Yeah.
Smart man. Mike?
I am drinking the Mango Unchained. I just wanted to continue the buzz I had when I came in here, and that sounded good, so here we are.
Yeah, Mike's been on the golf course all day, so you'll have to forgive this episode.
Heavily edited.
I do the best work when I'm drinking.
He just smells like a guy that's been outside all day.
Yeah.
You know that smell?
Yeah, well, just don't stand too close. Sorry, Kyle.
His sentences are going to be chopped where you can tell it's been edited. Just to give him a couple chances at it.
I'm going to sound like Channing Tatum tomorrow, guaranteed.
Stupid.
Connor, what are you drinking? I am drinking the Pilsner.
Oh, weird.
Good job, buddy.
Thank you. I felt like I had to give myself like off the backboard there.
Yeah.
Mostly because I knew we were just going to skip me if I didn't do it.
Yeah. He drinks the same beer every week. Every week. Actually, every day because he works here.
Even though
That's
he
true.
like basically lives here,
Yeah.
he just
Yeah.
drinks the same
Not
thing.
anymore.
Yeah.
He lives in Council Bluffs now.
I did.
I heard about that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear.
Did you have jokes prepared?
No,
Thank God.
Anna left them all.
Yeah, she already got me.
She's like, there was like 3 guys and then like some guy from Council Bluffs.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What is wrong with him? Let's throw it over to our special guest. We have with us Hurrdat sports reporter.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, reporter, senior social strategist, but
Senior
let's go with that
social
one.
strategist. I want to go with that one.
Yeah.
Senior.
well, that's what like it's on the website, but I guess I actually prefer reporter because I feel like that's what I do more.
Okay.
But yeah, when you look at the website, that's what my title is.
Okay.
So
To be
if
exact.
you're in a senior role, would that make Jared like a geriatric analyst? He's old. That's what I'm getting at.
I'm
Well,
old.
junior. Well, yeah.
I'm older than them. I don't know if you caught that. Much older.
okay.
Much
Thanks, guys.
Wiser.
Thank you for having me on your podcast, guys. What are you? Do you know what you're drinking over there?
No, I do not.
She has squeezed the day.
Yeah, there we go.
Squeeze.
Yeah.
It's good.
How would you describe it?
Well, it was advertised to me as kind of like a summer shandy, so that was my selling point. So I'd say
No
it's
free
similar.
plugs, but yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Well, sure. Would you say that that's a pretty accurate statement, though?
Yeah.
Summer Shandy.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
it's
Good
good.
job, guys.
Yeah.
I asked for summary, hit the spot.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Well, guys, come to the Nebraska Brewing Company tap room. Not on Mondays.
Not on Mondays.
Not on Mondays. 108th and Harrison, Lewiston, Nebraska 68128. Okay. Avarie, thank you for coming on the podcast. First of all.
Yeah, well,
We
thanks for having
appreciate
me.
Yeah, thank you.
Round of applause.
Now, you may or may not know this, but we're going to start off just like we did last week with Anna. We are a Husker fan podcast. Don't get it twisted. We don't talk about anything else, just Husker sports.
We have our niche, right?
Yes, we have our target audience.
That's our
and
thing.
That's what it's called.
We all have our thing.
Yeah.
Our theme.
You have a thing.
can't-
This is my thing.
I can't make eye contact with Mike tonight.
Avery, are you a Husker fan?
Yes.
Have you been to a Husker game?
Yes. So both my parents went to Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
So
Okay.
I had no choice. In fact, actually last weekend I was cleaning my hometown bedroom. And if this defines, I guess, my brainwashing, this would be it. I had a bear, like, you know, everyone has their like childhood stuffed animal. Mine was, I think, passed down from my dad because it's terrifying looking, but the back, you screw it and it's our fight song.
There you go.
So I was like, I was making a joke with it, and I sent it to our Hurrdat Sports chat and was like, if anyone wants to know like what they talk about when they say brainwashing our children, I think this is it. Because once I turned it on, it didn't go off for 3 hours. Like
No.
3 hours. Like, not kidding. Like, I put it back underneath my bed and like the underneath the thing shelves. I came back up later and I was like, what was that?
You
Like,
wake up in the middle of the night
So
to
I,
Hail
like,
Varsity.
literally. Yeah.
And the clapping is still wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, so whoever has that like was lullabied for 3 hours, and that's why we're brainwashed. Oh my god! But yeah, so I grew up a Husker fan.
So
sure.
Anna last week said that her Husker hero was Adi Kanalik, basically.
That was weird. Such a weird.
Listen,
The founder of Hurrdat Sports.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Fun fact.
And Blake Lawrence.
And Blake
Yeah.
Lawrence. Yes.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
she knows what she's doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm going to plug Adi Kanalik to her.
Well, I'll give Blake a shout out because me and Blake's little brother went to high school together, grade school, and elementary school together.
So he's
So
a
I knew
Kansas
Blake.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I knew Blake, and then it was weird because I got hired here, and he was like, "Hey, what's your job situation?" I was like, "Well," and he was like, "Shut up, shut the f up."
Shut that fuck.
Oh, you can say fuck. It's cool.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Oh, this is a podcast.
Well, I got
Say
it from
it.
you guys, but I just didn't know.
Say it.
Yeah, no, you can say.
Say it.
Shut the fuck up.
There we go.
Yeah, I know.
Do
But-
it. So you would say that Blake Lawrence is your Husker hero?
Who's your Husker hero? Mom and Dad went to
Blake was
Nebraska.
good.
He was, if he's listening, yeah, hi Blake. But oh God, I don't know who my Husker hero would be. Honestly,
Well, what? Because
my favorite Husker football memory
sure.
is when Sue, we were playing the Big 12 championship game, and he had like Colt McCoy and one bicep over here, and then had like our other like offensive lineman over here, and both went down. And like I had my grandma got me a Detroit Lions Sue jersey. So
There we go.
I would say probably like my favorite memory is like Colt McCoy being thrown down. So
Sure.
And
I have
Dominic and
spent-
Sue, baby.
yeah, I guess
I have
that's
spent
true.
14 years repressing that game, so thanks for bringing that
I'm
up.
sorry.
Yeah, and then
I'm sorry.
an hour later, Mac Brown doing that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's okay. So you grew up in Kansas City.
Yeah,
And you went to UNO
I did.
to play soccer. So why UNO? What was it about UNO that you wanted to go there?
Actually a weird roundabout story. I was at a ID camp at Nebraska. So I grew up going to all the Nebraska ID soccer camps. And
What's ID?
Identification.
Okay.
Yep. So I
assumed, but I was like, I don't know what it is.
That's
Like,
okay. That's fair. You made me think there for a second, but I was in my freshman year in high school, and I was in a league called ECNL. So we traveled to play in our league, but this ID camp specifically had UNO, Nebraska, Creighton, and weirdly enough, I want to say maybe K-State. They were up and coming, hadn't had a program yet, so I want to say maybe it was them. Either way, I was obviously there to be looked at by the Nebraska coaches. And my dad came with me, and right as we walked in the door, this guy started talking to him that I did not know. And then later I got moved down to the Omaha group, and that guy that was talking to my dad was the assistant coach that was running the drill. And afterwards, my dad was like, that was my childhood neighbor, best friend's older brother. I had no idea he was the coach. And and at the time it was Tim Bennett, and he told my dad that they'd been recruiting me for like a year and didn't connect the dots that like his last name was my last name, and like he moved to Kansas City and I played for Kansas City, and all of a sudden it was like this whatever. So it's because they had a previous relationship, they could communicate. And so right off the bat, they wanted me to come on and visit, and I was like, no, I'm not going. Like, that's where you grew up. My dad grew up in Omaha. Went to West Side, like 90th and Center. So
hey, West Side.
yeah. And so yeah, I used to wear his sweatshirts when I was like in middle school and thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We all did.
Did you throw that
Well,
up?
because my dad would do it, like when his buddies and stuff. And well, there's a high school in Kansas City called the Valley West, and so I went to one of their games one time and wore that. And anyway, wasn't the same thing.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Millard South.
yeah,
Yeah, Miller South.
Even they got to shoehorn it in every time. don't
L.
they?
Yeah.
Because Louisville lost at everything.
Hey, we were good at wrestling.
Yeah.
That was about it. So did you get to
Sorry,
listen to our oh, sorry, go on.
No, you're fine. I kind of went backwards anyway. But anyway, I basically was like, I want to go somewhere totally far. But my dad's like, you're not going to say no to a visit. We're going to go to everywhere, whatever. So I came, and I will say I was blown away. I had no idea Omaha even existed as a college at the time, because I'd only ever come up for Christmas and spending summers with my grandma and grandpa and stuff. And so being a diehard Husker, I was like, I don't know. I kind of want to wait until maybe that happens or something else. But for not understanding what a mid-major was at the time, mind you, I think I was like 16. So the recruiting process is so early that I was like looking back on it, like I barely had figured out high school. I don't really know how I made this decision, but the facilities we had, and like I went to a sold out North Dakota Omaha hockey game and was kind of blown away by that. And then went on some other visits. And then by the end of the summer, I was like, hey, I want to take a break. I want to kind of just digest everything, play like a month of our fall season and just not think about recruiting for a second. And then my dad and I mean, my family, I don't remember, we were shopping, and I was at Shields, and I know there's a Shields in Omaha, and I don't know if that's why it connected, whatever. But Shields was brand new to Kansas City, and we were walking past Nebraska stuff, and there was like one random Omaha shirt in there. Someone must have returned it. I don't know. Yeah. In Kansas City, probably. And I just remember being like, I think I actually want to go there. Like, I've been thinking about it, and it was kind of this, like, I think,
It's a sign.
Like, yeah, I was kind of like this.
yeah.
Oh, I kind of had been wanting to like talk to my parents about this a little bit. And so obviously my dad was really thrilled about that, coming to play in his hometown. And then we had a coaching change and all that stuff, but it worked out for the best. And like looking back on it, like I couldn't have made a probably better decision for myself, because I thought I wanted to go really far, and to go 3 hours is perfect. It's like a smaller version of KC. Just the community at Omaha, and I think the trajectory of where the school's going. My coach won't love to hear this if he finds out, but I did decide, because I was like, okay, Husker football will be 40 minutes down the road.
Yeah. Let's go.
So
Priorities.
Yeah, he did schedule practices during game times. Didn't love him for that, but that's okay. So yeah, but yeah, it worked out. I got to play soccer at D1 level, and for university I love, and then Husker football, and where I grew up. So it worked out.
What was the position you played in soccer?
I was either an outside midfielder or like an outside forward, depending on formation, depending on the day.
And so for the non-soccer buffs out there listening,
Like Mike.
what is your what?
Well, me too. I'm not gonna deny it.
What is your job on the field?
Run.
Run.
Unfortunately, no. Depends. Like I would say, it really depends on the team. But for us, like the outside position, like you have to cover this entire outside, you know, and you have to get up and back. You have a person you have to stay on a majority of the game. We say box to box, so you're defending and you're also attacking. So really helping on defense and trying to score goals. So yeah.
So did you get to listen to our interview last week with Anna?
I did.
Okay.
Listen.
So I asked her a similar question.
Yeah.
You played soccer.
I'm faster than you.
No, I know that. I know that.
That is fantastic.
No, my question is.
Sorry, keep going.
Shut your ass down, boy.
That's okay.
Oh my God.
No, I'm gonna get dunked on twice. You put me at keeper. Are you scoring on me?
Yes.
Could I score on you?
Probably though.
Oh, see, that's like
So we're fair.
Yeah. I'm gonna call that a 50%. I'm gonna call that a 50%.
Damn, she
That might have
But it
been the
was so
best
fast.
dunk moment of all time.
I didn't even get into the question. She's like, yeah, no, I could.
I
smoke your
saw
ass.
the poll on Twitter. I saw what was going on,
Yeah.
We're going to do that, by the way.
yeah,
Okay. Who's going to win that race? Is it going to be Anna, Andrew, or DB?
Honestly, I sat there and thought about it for a while. I put Andrew out of there.
Just immediately.
Not
Sorry,
even a
Andrew.
thought.
He's actually a really good
He
athlete.
probably I just
Yeah.
I think when I think Damon, I'm thinking running back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're talking 90s.
I feel like I'll just say safe and I'll just go with Anna probably.
That's a smart bet.
You know he was a running back before you were born, right?
Yeah, I know.
That's wild.
okay. So, but
And me, or no, I was born.
since you're in a sport that's mainly just running,
Yeah.
I mean, would you put your name in the hat for the NBNR Hurrdat track invite?
I'd love to. I can't say I've ran very much since my career ended, but I'd like, yeah, sure.
Hey, let's add her to the
Add
list.
to the list.
We'll make a new poll this week.
Are you more distance? You're more distance.
No.
No?
No?
No. I
You're
mean,
a
I
sprinter.
played soccer, but I do not like distance.
How many goals did you score in college?
Oh, what?
Oh,
Let's cut this part. No,
I already know.
More than me.
No, I only scored one in college. Actually.
Okay, there you go. More than me.
Yeah, no, I was we were pretty defensive, but I will say the one goal we scored was against KC, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had your moment.
I did.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Hell
That makes it
yeah.
a little more sweeter.
It was a really cool moment for sure.
did you ever intentionally like make a little bit of a dirty play, like just to end something or prove a point?
I mean, I guess.
How many red cards have you gotten in
I,
your career?
no, never. I've never had to get red card.
Okay.
Which probably a good thing though. Honestly, weirdly enough, like I like to be offensive, but my favorite thing to do would be like I like to chase someone down to like win the ball back. Obviously,
Wolf.
Yeah. When they don't realize like I'm coming, and then
She's a wolf.
but I feel like sometimes that can get dirty because when they don't know you're coming and then you steal the ball from them, then they're kind of like
They're reacting.
they're freaking out a little bit. Then it's
Yeah.
kind of like the pull, and then you're like, fine, I'll step or but I wouldn't say intentionally. We were
Like 50% intentionally.
no, probably not.
So
He's trying to get you to incriminate yourself so bad.
But it's weird. Like I don't know why I always love doing that. But I feel like those are the moments that kind of get
You got to prove like
better-
that you are more athletic than the person in front of you because you caught up to them,
yeah.
right?
And also on the flip side, like if that happened to me, you're like, shit.
Damn it!
Yeah. And then you're kind of like, that's embarrassing. I gotta.
it's probably more satisfying than scoring a goal, maybe, right?
I'd say goal is probably way
Yeah,
up there.
probably.
But like we valued like defensive hard work like a ton. So like if that was like an easy brownie point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grit.
Winning the ball back, like easy coach ding,
Ding.
Yeah, that's like teacher's pet stuff,
Yeah, a little bit.
but coach's pet.
Yeah.
When you scored your goal, did you do like the little Alex Morgan T-sip
No.
or?
What was the celebration?
My reaction in anything is two hands in the air, like every time. But it was just like straight up in the air, and I was falling down, so I got up and like to see it went in, and then my hands went in the air. Yeah,
So
nothing awesome.
Yeah.
Damn. No bat flip. Like we're looking for some.
I know.
Some pizzazz.
Yes.
especially against Kansas City, like
Yeah.
Yeah. Omaha.
Yeah.
so. Mike already kind of mentioned that like, we're not the biggest soccer heads, okay?
That's okay.
And like we'll watch the World Cup if things are getting
Oh,
crazy
absolutely.
and the vuvuzelas are going nuts, right? And yeah,
Or is
Women's
that
is this year, is it not?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, women's
We're
is this
close.
year,
Women's. Mm-hmm.
So like, I guess where I'm going with this is one of the perceptions of soccer is like there's a lot of flops.
Boys, men's.
Oh,
I-
instantly.
Instant. Like I also think like I don't know, hot take, but I think their goal celebrations are annoying as well.
Oh.
Like when they slide on their knees and
They're
like,
pulling their shirt over their head. They're like,
if you're in like Europe or I guess even World Cup, whatever, like Olympics, sure, but like I don't know.
like Union Omaha, what do they do?
I don't know.
What do they
I don't
do?
know. I feel like I said probably hot take and probably offending a lot of people, but like
Debatable.
I know when like we're at state tournament, I'm covering boys and they do this crazy like flag thing. I'm like, I get it, it's state, but it's just like, but then the girls score and they're like sick,
Yeah.
good job. We're doing our job.
Yeah,
I
just
don't know. I
business.
think maybe that's
Go
just
team.
because our like that's what it's like. But yeah, I would say flopping is boys.
That's a boys thing.
Boys thing.
I don't know where that
totally.
I don't know where that originated. I don't
LeBron James.
Good answer.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have no follow-up. Don't look at me.
I mean it's true though, dude. You're like 6'9",
Nice.
270 pounds. Like, let's go.
Why do you flop like a?
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Like a
losing our
fish.
track here, boys.
So, I guess the next question would be, you go to UNO. Did you always want to be a journalist, or was that kind of a late blooming kind of thing?
I grew up doing like every sport under the sun, like everything. And I have two younger brothers. They also played a ton of sports. Baseball's their thing. My dad coached me and everything, coached my brothers and everything. I was like the older sister that would wake, like if my brother had a baseball game at 8:00 and they'd be there at 6:30, I was like, Dad, I'm coming with you. I'd go to warm-ups. I'd catch them when they'd catch pop flies and throw it
hell
back
yeah.
into coach. Like I was there. And like, I remember parents being like, why are you here? And I'm like, what do you mean?
Where else would I be?
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I don't want to be anywhere else. Right?
Yeah, and so I loved that. And so just growing up, I loved being around it all the time. As a Husker fan, even, I just think it's kind of like I don't know. I don't feel like I had much of a choice, quite frankly, but I love
Brainwashed.
it. Yeah, totally. I was lullabied to sleep by it, but I would wake up every Saturday morning and watch College Game Day. And like, I would say it was my favorite show. Like, that's what I would tell people. That's my favorite show. And it's kind of funny. Like, I look back on it now and I tell people that, you know, I love that Maria Taylor was on it or Sam Ponder, but like, those aren't even my memories when I was younger. I just loved the stories. I loved that they like humanized everything. I still like get kind of giddy when they play like the College Game Day like entrance song or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where that came from, but I never knew that it was a profession. Like, I had zero knowledge of how it all worked. I also like wasn't allowed to have a phone until I was like 15, and then like I didn't have an iPhone until I was like 2 years later. So I think maybe I was just like numb to how all the behind the scenes stuff worked, which I'm thankful for now. But also getting into college, my focus was soccer. And so I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I always knew my passion and interest was sports. So much so that I had a lot of like friends, parents tell me like, you could do that, or like, that should be your thing. And I was like, I don't really know what that means. I don't even know what that is. So when I had applied for, because I committed here, I wrote down, elementary education, I believe. And then by the first class I had, I think I was technically in journalism. It wasn't education. All I know is that. But I met Anna, and actually, scratch that. I saw that Anna was working the College World Series after her freshman year, and I was just like, I don't understand how she did that. I don't understand how she's there. I don't get it. I also wasn't she was doing track too, but like my only focus was soccer at that time and trying to figure out how to do that. And then my sophomore year, when me and Anna really had a radio class together, and she invited me to a sports recording they did every Friday. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come. Like, I don't know how to get into this. I don't know the first thing. I watched a ton of sports. I love watching reporters. At the time, Laura Rutledge, and still is like my up here. So I think I had an idea of maybe what I was getting myself into, but I had really no idea, I think, until that first like sports show we did together. I was like, okay, this is it. I found it. This is the first step. Yeah.
Yeah. You had mentioned the College World Series, Anna, and you're wearing the 1990. Do you remember what teams were?
Yes, I actually don't know them by heart, but I know that Oklahoma was in that, and Florida State, and Cal State Fullerton, because Augie Garrido was coaching them before Texas.
Hey, that's the year we were born, guys.
Yeah.
Look at that. Well, wait, not you.
Not you.
But I do know those three, because when I bought this shirt, I was like, this is a sick shirt. And I'm like, I probably should look up who's 94, because people are going to ask.
People are going to ask. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
People are
So
going to challenge you.
I have three. And the reason why I remember Oklahoma is because Oklahoma was last year and like pretty recent. But
You named three of the teams. Please tell me you know the champion.
I don't actually.
Neither do I.
Should I look it up?
Hey, it's a Google search away. Everything is always.
But yeah, Augie Garrido, pre-Texas,
Before we hated him, right?
Yeah.
Well, look, he's one of those guys where.
Hey, hold on.
Horns down
There we
tonight,
go.
by the way.
There we go. Yeah.
They're playing tonight at 7.
So they ended up losing to Stanford last night?
You have to
They
do
did?
this.
Yeah, they did.
Thank God.
That
last
guy
night-
threw 156 pitches.
And 16 strikeouts.
Yeah.
That's
like,
incredible.
One walk.
Wow.
Yeah. That is, I believe I saw that is a record for baseball at any level for most pitches thrown in a game by one pitcher.
Wow.
He was cruising though.
Yeah. Near the end of the game, he's still throwing 93.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're doing that. I've thrown 93 once in my life, and that's because I added 30 miles on to how fast I threw.
Yeah.
I was just lying to myself. Turned her upside down.
Well, I didn't watch the game, but I heard he threw a lot of change-ups. So he wasn't just doing 93 the whole game.
Just gunning it. Yeah.
No,
Right.
but I'm still after 150 pitches, and you're still pushing 93. That's still fucking impressive.
And when he doesn't get a high A, in his future career, you're going to be like, well, you're going to look back at that and be like, wow, pitch management,
Well,
maybe an issue.
If Stanford ends up going to the CWS and they do damage,
I'm just saying.
worth it.
I believe.
Is it though?
Yes.
We also had-
What are the odds of
As a
anyone
former college athlete,
being an MLB
Well,
player?
hold on. We also talked to Mr. Chestnut, Mr. Rader, what was that, a month ago? And they talked about how you're going to see more of this out of pitchers, and that's just going to, like, their careers are going to be shorter.
There's been
Yeah.
like a lot of pitchers I've seen in the Super Regionals throw over 100 pitches.
Yeah.
But you're at the end of the season.
Do or
but,
die.
like, yeah, they don't look like they're struggling by any means.
Yeah. And they don't want to, like, as a competitive person too, like they don't want to be taken out either. So I get both sides of it. I'm like, but if you're trying to be that skipper or that coach that's going to help you prolong your career, maybe you pull them after 100 pitches.
Yeah.
156.
Yeah, but
come on now.
But it was
16 Ks.
That's like 3 games.
It was like different though. Last night it was like 3-pitch strikeout, 4-pitch strikeout. I watched him. He said after the game, like the coach asked him or I guess his pitching coach was like, let's have an adult conversation. And he like walked away from me. He was like, all right, well then I'm good. Then he's like, I don't think that was very adult. And he was like, you know me, like that was adult. Like, let's keep going. And they said that previously he'd had a game or an outing where he'd pitched a lot of pitches and then his coach wanted to pitch him again. And he was like, before we do that, we're going to have a conversation with your parents. And he like, I guess turned around, looked at his parents and like did a 360. He's like, no. I mean, talk to your parents. So Coach Esker's got, I think his interest at heart. But like, I think when you watch the performance, you're like, if you take him out of the game right now, it's a 2-run ball game. I just don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
156 is wild. But
that's just wild. That's the most pitches I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Yeah. Watching him pitch though, I was like, I don't think you can. I don't know. Do you agree?
I don't know.
How much did you watch?
If you take him out,
I watched the game.
Okay.
Again, looking at it from a health standpoint, I would have to at least consider it.
Yeah.
But the way he was throwing,
if you take him out, he will. If you're the manager, he'll hate you forever. He will hate you.
But if he feels good,
I'm just saying,
I'm gonna let him go.
Competitive.
There's people who get pulled out of no hitters because they've hit 100 pitches.
Doesn't mean they should have been pulled.
Those managers
are they sending their team to the College World Series?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know,
Is that what factors in? I don't know.
I don't know.
People make such a big deal out of
I'm
pitch
talking
counts.
at the next level, though. Like, if you're at the next level and you get pulled and you're throwing a no-hitter and they're like, hey, it's a 7th inning.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yesterday
was literally a do or die game for them.
I get it.
It had to be done.
That's a lot of pitches, though.
It's a lot of pitches.
If you
Again,
said
it's a
like
record.
if it's like 120, whatever. We're talking 156 pitches. Think about a reliever that comes in, they throw like 12 pitches and they're done.
Snowflake generation. 100 pitches. Man, get out.
Hey, God.
People make such a big deal out of pitch counts. Stop it.
I mean, he's not going to throw the rest of the College World Series.
Yes, he will. Listen, you're not going to get TJ from 150 pitch game. That's not how that works. It's like throwing your whole life. It just
right.
It
You don't think he's been throwing his whole life?
Of course he has, but I'm just saying. What about all those other games where maybe he was pulled with 75 pitches and 80?
Whatever.
Snowflakes.
Do you think there is a?
Do you think a 94 would be pulled? 94.
It was Oklahoma, by the way.
It was Oklahoma.
Hey, there you go.
So I knew that one.
Yeah,
you're right.
Mike, do you think there's a trophy for going 0-2 in supers?
Get him.
Fuck no, there's not.
Now he's
Nebraska would
getting after
win
you.
it.
Hey, wait.
Hey, Nebraska would win it.
He's getting after you now.
Jared, I have a question. Is this Pee Wee? Is this Pee Wee?
Say Pee Wee.
Thank you.
There we go.
All right. I feel better now.
Man,
You know
put
what?
on a shirt.
He should have thrown 160, motherfucker.
Put it on a shirt. Hey, did they win?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank God.
Did he die?
Not yet.
But did he die?
Very soon he will. Avery, hello.
Yeah. Hey.
Sorry. We get intense.
She is here.
Okay.
How long until the break? Were you getting there?
We're sitting 2 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
So let's.
Okay.
What's called an even 10?
Yeah.
What would you say? You go through this thing kind of with Anna, and you learn that, dang, okay, I could really like this. And was there ever a point that you were going through all this, and there was a moment where you hit a snag where it's like, oh, maybe this really isn't the job for me, or like something happened to you where it was kind of like, oh, reality check, maybe I don't want to do this, or anything like that?
I don't think so. I honestly kind of think on the flip side, honestly, right before, COVID started, and me and Anna had like just kind of hit our stride and just like becoming, I would say, when I say close, that's kind of a stretch because like where we're at now, not even close, but like, we had like gotten close enough where I was coming to all the shows and we were kind of like just tag teaming a lot of things, and she was getting me introduced to a lot of people. Because by this time, I think she'd quit track and kind of made this her full-time focus. So she knew a lot more people in like the School of Journalism or like our athletic department. And then COVID hit. And I remember I was driving home from COVID and I was texted her, and we'd kind of been chit-chatting about how do we get more girls involved, this kind of thing. And she was like, let's start a club. And I was like, cool, let's do it. And we didn't talk much more about it. And I remember during COVID, I felt like super purposeless, if that makes a word. I didn't have soccer. I didn't have anything to watch, to like talk about. I'm sure you guys are very similar, but like when I leave work or I leave something, I'm like, what game's on tonight? Or like whatever, right? And so I was like, I don't have any of that. Like they had College World Series replays on during June, and I was like over the moon. I was like something. Like I was so excited. And so I think that was kind of like my like a second aha moment, because I'd kind of got into it looking back on it, awful, terrible. Like, I hope I can scrub them from the internet. But like during that time, I was like, this was so fun. I loved it. It was just great. And so I think, I guess maybe if there was a snag, I guess it would be like kind of the down period was kind of that like, this sucks. And for everyone, but this was kind of like maybe the rejuvenation I needed to remind myself that this is kind of what I want to do.
Okay.
So real quick, I know we're getting ready to go on a break, but you had mentioned that like you and Anna had talked about how do we get more girls involved and stuff like that. Like I saw not too long ago, there was like a all women's event over at Hale Varsity Club. Yes. And it looked like everybody was having a pretty good time. Yeah. But I'm just curious, like, has that always kind of been in the forefront of your mind as far as like just getting more women involved in sports and just like broadcasting and reporting and stuff like that?
Quite frankly, right when I started, I don't really think it was like my true motive. I think like, I know Anna definitely, because she was the only person doing it, that she was like, okay, I've got another one. Cool. And I think everyone kind of realized that we were kind of tag teaming everything and we kind of became stronger together. I leaned on her for everything because I just didn't know people. I hadn't really done anything yet. And I didn't really know how it all worked. Like she knew all the technicality stuff, like how to run this thing basically. Or like when we'd call a baseball game and she would plug in the Ethernet and all that stuff. And I'm like, pause. What are you doing? I don't know this.
Give me a microphone.
Yeah. That kind of thing. Or even if we would have recordings and she would do editing, like I'd have to sprint to practice. So I quite literally never did the back end stuff. So I didn't know all of it. So I leaned on her a lot. And so I don't think I would have asked probably a male counterpart as comfortably if like how I asked Anna things. And so as we worked through things a lot more, I think that became like very evident and obvious that like if you have people that support you that look like you, I don't know how many times Anna said it, but she says like if you can see it, you can be it. And I really think we've kind of taken that and run with it. And so now that we're in the position that we are, and I think out of college, it's been definitely like at any time, not trying to scream in everyone's face, but at any time you see another, it's kind of like, okay, you got this, or, you know, but for sure, I think the rise in what I've seen on TV and the people that I get to watch now, it's not really like a rarity. I feel like I know we've got strides, but I feel like it's become much more of a normalcy. And so
it's a norm for sure.
For sure. And I think I know we have a lot of like just things to learn and adapt to in that area still, but to see more people, more women in those positions, and not just even like reporters, but like agents and presidents and CEOs, like that kind of thing. That's the best, I think, is seeing like how diverse all the women are in that. And so I know that there's a lot of positions to fill, and it's not just like, let's bring another reporter on, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, now like working with Anna and kind of getting out of college and saying we have some experience, that's definitely been the driving force of being like, okay, we have some experiences under our belt. We've seen some women in the workforce. How do we continue to push that initiative, I think, on?
Yeah. I mean, the owner of the XFL is a woman. I mean, the Rock's ex-wife. It's a very weird dynamic, but it's cool that the Rock and his ex-wife is actually the president of the XFL.
And you even look at what I feel like is widely perceived to be like the biggest boys club in sports at Barstool Sports. Mm-hmm. Their president's a woman.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until just now.
Yeah.
I wish I knew her name. I should.
Erica something.
That
Namini?
too.
Erica Namini? Is
maybe. There's a she got promoted like 2 years ago. I want to say Yankees. She's like, I don't want to say president. That's way too high. But I don't know if that's the right title. But like that happened 2 years ago, and I remember I was with Anna when she saw that. She was like, "Oh my God, that's like huge." So it's not just reporters, and it's not just the anchor.
It's the power brokers.
It's women in sports.
It's the people that are hiring the other people.
Yeah,
below
which is
them.
definitely cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, I think it's a great time to take a break and top off our beers.
Indeed.
Cool.
Cash moves everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
Thank you, Sir Troy Walters. Wow, that feels good.
That was
That
was a little
good.
shaky. You want to give that one another shot?
Yeah.
I liked it.
Thanks, Connor.
I liked
the
it.
guy who doesn't know we exist, Troy Walters.
Yeah.
Respond to us on Twitter, goddammit.
Yeah, we did tweet at him like every day for almost a week.
4 days.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 days, and we were just like, yeah, fuck it.
He knows
It's
we exist.
so hard to find that many pictures of Troy Walters, guys. He wasn't that famous.
Dude, like half of the pictures that you posted were blurry as fuck.
Because he didn't
Pixelated as shit.
What am I supposed to do? The content isn't there. You just got to make it up.
I know.
Okay. So anyway, Troy.
Troy.
Avery, so during the break, we were talking about like kind of like Anna's journey getting to where she is, and that stuff fascinates us. That's kind of what we talk about with everybody as far as like athletes are concerned and people in your profession. So can you kind of talk about, like you said you had met Anna in college and you guys had kind of talking about like you had seen her doing it and you were like, okay, so like you said, if you see it, you can do it. So can you talk about a little bit like what it was like getting into it and kind of what was going on?
Yeah. Well, actually, you guys actually asked her a pretty good question about like journalism school and like kind of what you learn versus like what you just don't know. And I quite frankly would tell anyone that's in quote unquote journalism, especially if you go to a school that doesn't have like a broadcasting major, like as much as you are going to learn how to write, I guess, if that's not what you want to do, like you have to go do it to understand, like nothing's going to emulate like being at the sideline of a game, or nothing's going to emulate being at a desk in a live event. I know we would kind of do like pre-recorded stuff and that was great. It was a lot of great practice, but there was nothing really that compared to the nerves or like the jitters you'd get right before like asking a coach a question live, like at Baxter Arena on the screen. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never done this before. Like no one can prepare you for that. And then after you do it a few times, like that's instant learning and reps and stuff. So I would say you just had to go do it. And that's kind of where we began, is we created our own opportunities and we had a show every Friday called By the Horns. And we had a lot of great connections. So we would either talk to athletes at our own school, or we would contact like Royals players or Storm Chasers and guys that were kind of up and coming, because we kind of always liked that aspect and that angle as well. And we would do Zoom calls, and me and Anna would prep and do a shared doc like every week, and we would put our stuff together and here's my question, here's what I want to ask. And then she's like, do you want to host or you want to be the analyst this week? And we kind of start off with like, okay, what's the Omaha angle? Okay, what's the national angle? Okay, we've got this many playoff games happening this week. Do you want to do a pick of them? And here I am picking NFL games. Like no one cares when I'm picking NFL games, but here I am doing it. And it was just all just practice. Like it just was a really good, just kind of like, let's just try and see where it goes. And a lot of our like colleagues or other athletes in the department kind of like really encouraged us. And it was kind of cool, especially when we had them on and they'd reshare it and that kind of thing. So it just was kind of creating our opportunity. And then because we created this club, which was kind of during COVID still, we would do like Zoom meetings and we'd have guest speakers on. We had Joel Goldberg on from Kansas City, and
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, we had Mina Kimes on. We had Mina, yeah, which was awesome because she's an analyst and a genius, and that's pretty cool. We had Laura Rutledge was on, which was incredible. Like she's like,
yeah, what was that like for you?
It was crazy. It was actually like, I remember I was asking her a question on a Zoom, and I was like, whatever. Yeah. Because she's the person that I watched her in the College World Series when I was young enough to not really, once again, understand what reporting was. I just kind of like thought they just like popped up there. I'm like, I don't know how you get into this. So to like actually meet her and follow her and then have this conversation. And she stayed on for like 2 hours because the girls like nationally started seeing our stuff because she was sharing it. And they would message us and be like, do you guys care if we hop on the Zoom? And we were like, it's hard, like access to Laura Rutledge, like absolutely. And so she sat there and was like, if anyone wants me to look at their reel, or you guys want to send me an email over like your interview, like feel free. And I'm like, this is a person that is literally doing everything under the sun. Like for her to say that was incredible. And she was just like, you think she's great at her job, but she's like an even better human. And I think that was a huge moment for Anna and I to be like, okay, even when you quote unquote made it, like you have time. Like, and
right.
even if you don't think so, like, look how big of a deal this is for us at 8:30 at night after we were watching her on NFL Live and then she joined our like Zoom.
Wow. That's wild.
Right? Like kind of cool. So, I kind of lost where I was at. Oh yeah, guest speakers. And so that was really cool. Like that gives you a whole different perspective that like love our teachers, but they can't give you. Right. Mm-hmm. And so after that, our athletic department and just some of our administration kind of recognized us, and they were kind of going through, it seems like a role switch at the hockey games, and they were looking for like a reporting position. So they brought on Andrew, he was doing MC stuff. And then Anna and I would switch off, and another friend, Alexa, we would do the ringside stuff. And that was my first ever experience doing like live hits or a live in-game interview. So after every first intermission, I would interview coach, and then that was live in arena. And then if we won, I was with the player after the game on the bench, which is also live in arena. And so that was like something you really can't prepare for. Like it's funny looking back on like my first few games, I like had some like prepared questions and notes and stuff. And then I still did it this year. And like, I would get in there to do a pregame interview at like 4:30 for a 7 o'clock game. I'd sit there and look at the notes and highlight some stuff. And then I'd be like, okay, momentum shifted like 5 minutes before. Awesome about that. Like I used to write out my like questions in like bulk, and I'm like, oh, like, so it just, you realize how much like you've picked up on things and just like how much reps help. And I'd go to the press conferences that week and just also getting to know the team, that kind of stuff. But you get into those kind of steps, and all of a sudden I think you learn more about the process. That like makes you fall more in love with it. So really from there, I graduated, and that was kind of my true, I'd say, real live experience. Everything else was like recorded. We did the the Olympic swim trials the year before, and that was once again an eye-opening experience. I didn't know anything about swimming, but being at that experience alone, I was like, holy crap. Like the fact that it was the last one and it was Olympic swim trials, and then watching players that I talked to, or swimmers, and then like Michael Phelps was sitting next to us, and then like I don't know, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Does he look like a goober in person too?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
It was crazy, but like he'd walk down right in front of you. Like he would hug Katie Ledecky. He'd like hug his old, like, you call them teammates? I don't know. Swim buddies.
Swim buddies.
And like then he'd walk back up, and then like Mike Tirico was like asking me for like a heat sheet. I'm like, yeah, here. Oh yeah, here Lisa or no, it wasn't her. Michelle Tafoya. And I'm like, I shouldn't be.
Michelle?
Yeah, you're like, I should not be here. But I am. But like you're taking it all in, and it's just like the hustle and the grind of it, and like I don't know, the whole experience I think was just one of those things that kind of like got me into it even further. And like I said, I didn't know anything about swimming. So it was kind of one of those, like, once again, the aha moment, like, you love this. This is amazing.
Okay, so in college, you guys are doing these like these Zoom calls and things like that. Is this all part of your program, or
our club?
It's your club? Okay, so this is all just self-initiated stuff. This isn't stuff from the college.
No, Anna was the president. I was the vice president. Then we had one more person, and I guess we should call her the vice president as well. And so everything we did, like I would put a graphic together and we would post it. Like every social media thing I would run. Anna would do the editing. We'd put our strips together. Like everything was just us. And then we had a lot of members in it. And our whole initiative was kind of like, we want a platform. There was no club for women in media itself. We were the only girls that like sports. So we were like, hey, if you want to have a show about a movie or entertainment or something, like come do it. Like we're here every Friday. We call it Production Friday. And a lot of our male students, I guess, colleagues, they were all doing them too. And so we're like, it's an open, like you come with your show ready. Like our staff is here to help. Teachers are here to help set up your show, do the behind the scenes stuff kind of. But we were in there saying like, we want a 1-shot, we want a 2-shot. Like we would put everything together. Which once again, like shout out to Anna for like teaching me that stuff. Cause I was at practice and all these things, but that was kind of the hard part is we got up to like 30 members, but we weren't really seeing faces, but it did give us a platform and a club to kind of just like make our own opportunity. And then I'm trying to think what, I guess, yeah, a hockey season. And then I got hired with, Hurrdat Sports, and that's my foot in the door was being a social strategist. And at the time we were like 4 people big.
4 people big.
4 people big. And so I was posting like the podcast clip outs and stuff, and we didn't even really have a TikTok, like nothing really was established. And do I really want to be doing the Twitter, Instagram thing all the time? Like, no, not necessarily. That wasn't like it's not my dream, but like I knew it's a part of the process, and you learn a lot along the way. And like getting to know my team, they over time were like, okay, we know that Avery wants to do this. Like, you're going to help us do this, and then we'll slowly get opportunities. And now every time there's like a sporting event, it's like Anna, Avery, who wants to cover it, which has been great. Like my team knows that that's what I want to do. Here's your position and here's your role, but we're going to help you try to get to your
That's incredible.
next thing.
Man, 2 weeks of listening to this stuff, I'm like,
I know, it's so cool.
I'm like, yo, get me in the door. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we could be doing so much more instead of just.
Well, I think back to the spring game where, Frank Solich comes back and they named the locker room after him. And I'm like, well, I think UNO should be called, that School of Journalism should be the Anna Bellinghausen, Avery Howard School of Journalism.
Yeah,
or something.
seriously.
Oh, shit.
Man.
Paving the way.
So is your club still active at UNO? Do you know?
It's a thing. I don't know how much it's like going on. I mean, based on social media, it's kind of dormant. It was really tough because we had to leave it we started it during COVID. And so if we wanted to meet, you had to be on Zoom. And it was really hard, I guess, to kind of like get our message to our group being like, hey, like we will post if you are a photographer and you are like, get it to us and we'll post it. Like I created a website and I'm like, if you are a writer, like put it on your website. Right. So, we try to get that message to all of them that like, this is a place for all of you. I know we started it and like unfortunately our faces aren't everything in this thing, but like it doesn't have to be that way. Like we can help you, we can do whatever you need. And we had a few girls kind of come up with their own shows, and they did do a few things. And we have a few girls, I think now they're in Mav Radio. So sometimes that's kind of a, you know, like I guess a starting point. It's where me and Anna both started. So I hope it kind of takes off. Our sponsor, it was our radio teacher, and our like we had Maverick Digital Network, which did like live events and stuff. So she was all of that, and she was the one that kind of endorsed our club. So she's still around. I know she's a big supporting role in that. So I hope it stays a thing, and I hope it kind of maybe rejuvenates here soon. But it's still there, I think.
There's no waves. We got the Anna and the Avarie just wave of talent, and then now is there a gap now? Come on.
I don't know. It's hard because I really do hope in the future that we are able to have maybe like a sports major or even just like a broadcasting major. Because like my capstone was technically in media communication and journalism, and you had to do like a news broadcast every week. And me and Anna started the sports segment of it because we were like, this is great. And I love that we can go do a news story somewhere, but like, it's really not preparing me for like anything that I want to do. I understand how to produce a show, and I understand what goes into it to go get like a 60-second package or a 45-second like voiceover, but that doesn't really help me at the desk, or doesn't really help me go like, why don't we, if this is an Omaha sports newscast, why don't we have Omaha athletics on it? And so our senior year, our second semester, we created the sports segment. And so, at the end, like that helped us a lot. But at the end, when our teachers asked, like, how much did this capstone help you guys? Everyone was like, well, I'm like in creative media, so this like didn't do much for me.
Yeah. It was more of a necessity.
Yeah. And so I think they're kind of realizing that like, it just can't be a blanket thing. And so I'm hoping down the road, like maybe there's some more categories, because I know Lincoln has it, and obviously other schools in the area. I don't think a lot of people are going to go to UNO for the journalism situation, but I do think that if there was more categories, it might help. But, it's tough. I would love to see more girls involved, but I also know it's a hard route to take when you don't know if there's a thing established yet.
Well, and with Hurrdat being around in Omaha, and with seeing you and Anna and Marissa everywhere, like we teased a little bit about Anna about this. Wherever we look, there she is.
I know.
Talking about something. There she is. It's like, you got to think that prospective journalism students are also seeing that, and they see you and they see Marissa, and they're like, that looks like fun.
Yeah, it's encouraging.
And then once you guys move on to ESPN or whatever you guys, then they'll
Don't forget
succeed.
the little people when you get famous.
Yeah. So we made Anna say this, so when you get famous, just remember us little people, so that we can have you on our podcast when you're big and famous. And
us peons.
You bring us on ESPN.
Yeah, you know what?
Either way. With Michael Wilbon, we'll be with Michael Wilbon.
Oh, I would love to talk shit to Michael Wilbon.
Yeah, a full team of people to censor what we're saying.
And that's why we won't be on ESPN.
Yeah, exactly.
Touche.
You blew it. Because we would talk shit on Michael Wilbon. So since going to Hurrdat, you had been there since October.
Yep.
Just talk about some of the things that they've have you doing, and like maybe your favorite thing that you've done with Hurrdat so far.
Yeah. I actually don't even know what's happened yet. Well, actually, two things haven't, because College World Series is coming up, and I need to thank my grandparents for settling their roots here, because I grew up going here because my dad grew up going to them. So I don't know if I'd have the same passion and love. I probably would, but maybe not to this extent. My first ever memory is at Rosenblatt 2010 when the last year I didn't know at the time, obviously, but my dad took me, and a party bus of TCU kids got out. And they were all doing their little, whatever this thing is. Yeah. And I was like,
they're coming back.
Yeah. And they were decked in purple. And I was like, Dad, what is that? And he's like, those are TCU kids, whatever.
That's a horn frog. Don't you know?
Yeah. Yeah. What the heck? Yeah. And so I was fascinated that kids from Texas were on this party bus. They got up to Omaha, and I was blown away by that. I was like, this is a big deal. Actually, the part that's funnier, sorry, I'm digressing, but
digress away.
Yeah. My dad and I, this was a thing, obviously, but my dad paid to park in someone's yard, and then we and then we parked, or we paid to use their backyard to tailgate. Now that we don't have that, I think it's really funny to share. But they were playing UCLA.
Sucks. The new setup sucks.
Well, I hardcore.
You went from the Rosemont was a ballpark, and
indeed
Schwab Park Field, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Yeah, that is a stadium.
It's a corporate
Yeah, it just you went from like that neighborhood ballpark, where you can go park in somebody's backyard and tailgate and have a great time and make memories, to hey, we're downtown Omaha where you gotta pay for fucking parking. Hey, hopefully you know about the parking meters. By the way, you have to get an app on your phone now because you can't put coins in there anymore.
He's kind of mad.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
He's saucy. He's saucy.
It's okay.
Yeah, I share that with everybody who's listening. They by the way, they took the heads off of the parking meters, so you can't actually put coins in there anymore.
Yeah.
Where do you put the coin then?
No, there's no coins anymore. It's only virtual, so you actually have to pay more to park.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, the part that's
Anyway, Mike, shut the
let me
fuck
think.
up.
Let me think about where I was at.
You were tailgating in someone's backyard.
Yes.
It was this goober.
Yeah, don't worry about them.
They'll find out it's closed.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Damn it.
Did they see the lights?
I'm sure they did.
Sorry.
No, they're good. It's okay. But this is like I kind of got to cover a few games last year, but I don't think it was like 2 games, and I did it for my college radio station. Even though I graduated, it was kind of like a favor since I was supposed to do it during 2020 and whatever. So this is like my first real event doing the whole entire thing, and TCU is back in it, and for some reason this is kind of like this full circle.
It's nostalgia.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah, and not that I have anything for TCU, but it's like that's my first memory, and so to do this with Hurrdat Sports and like allow them. Or I guess allow me to have like the trust and just the belief that I'm going to be able to do an interview every single day at a game is just like kind of crazy to me. And I'm not working for ESPN or I'm not whatever, but like to have that opportunity because I decided to go to school here and like, look what it's turned into. I think that's kind of the crazy thing a little bit. Like I would have never picked Omaha to pick my future down the road. And here I am getting to be at my favorite, probably sporting event ever. And so for them to let me do that this coming week, I'm like stoked, and we're going to have a few live shows. So just like maximizing every opportunity. And then I also was, I guess you could say, notified by my boss a few weeks ago that I'm going to be the correspondent for Husker football in the fall. And so that's
awesome.
like,
Congratulations.
once again, like a huge childhood thing for me. And so I know everything that they've given me opportunity so far to do has led me to the next few things. And I'm really thankful that they've sent me to the NFL draft and like little things like that. So
little things like the NFL draft.
Yeah,
Just
little things like that. But like just the compiling events that we're been able to go to, and just like them being like, yeah, like Avery, you can come report this, or just even like state, like anyone else that's from Omaha could have tackled that and whatever. And to have just all the, I can't say I've ever done this many interviews in a year before. So to have all these reps and then have the World Series and then have college football back to back, I'm really excited.
Is it kind of like overwhelming sometimes as far as like just being thrown into this many interviews and this many events and things like that?
It's weird because sometimes I feel like there's this weird pressure that I wouldn't have expected, like to try and be at everything, and then you feel guilty when you aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Like last week was Big Slick in Kansas City, and Anna texted me, was like, oh my God, like Carissa Thompson will be there, and this has this, and I happen to be home, and it wasn't really on my radar because I was home for a different reason, and I was like, shoot, like should I figure out how to get credentials? I probably should go. Like I'm missing out on an opportunity if I don't go. And then Anna had figured out that they're actually not really giving access to anyone, so then I felt better. So I don't know if I think sometimes the overwhelming piece is kind of like if I don't make the absolute most of this opportunity, like okay, like if I interviewed one person, like I probably should have done like, should I do 3 more? Should I do 4 more?
Right.
And like, instead of just being happy or like content that I got a really good one interview and trying to like, I feel like sometimes that's the overwhelming piece because I want to be at all the events. I want to have all the reps. Every single time I feel like I maybe dread an event, it ends up being the best thing that ever happened to me, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Like I hate to admit it, but I like dreaded the Olympic swim trials because we weren't allowed to go to the World Series that year. So I was like, fuck this. There you guys go.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to go. They're not allowing outside media in the World Series. Like, I don't want to go back up to Omaha this summer to go cover that. Went and covered it. It was probably the best 3 weeks I've ever had in my entire life. Like we went to the World Series afterwards. I met all these companies. They realized what we were doing. So I had an Olympic swim trial credential and they're like, will you do an interview for my company? Will you do this? I met all these players. Like it was so cool. And so every time I dread something, I'm like, okay, enough with the dreading an event. Like go enjoy it.
Right.
Be thankful.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I think that was something, maybe that might take it back. That might have been my snag a little bit at some point. I kind of being like, okay, I've done a lot of things at school. Like I can be content with that right now. And then every time I'd be like, I don't know if I want to go to this. Like I had to get over that really quick. And I would say Anna helps a lot because she's like, hey, I want to go. If you go, do you want? And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, let's go. And so I think having a support person start doing it by yourself or like trying to embrace every opportunity doesn't feel as daunting when you have someone else that's obviously as driven as Anna is, but I think sometimes the overwhelming piece is just kind of like enjoying that you're doing it, be thankful for the opportunity, and like just let it be what it is. Like you're prepared for this moment. Don't try to do too much. Like I think we try to preach quality over quantity sometimes. And I think that's been something that's really set in for me for sure.
So turning the page to next week, the College World Series, do you think
This week.
being a, well, I guess
This weekend.
Fuck.
This weekend. Hey.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Time flies. Do you think being a former college athlete is going to help you when you talk to the college athletes and getting the opportunity to interview all the teams that are going to be in Omaha?
Yeah, I think so. Anna and I talk about this a lot. Sorry, this isn't shout out to Anna podcast, but
Shout out to Anna podcast. It's got a title. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So we talk about this a lot because people ask us a lot if like there's a lot of competition between us. And I was like, no, because like if she's not doing her job and like not being great, like it doesn't help me at all. And we also say like we do the same job, but like if you were to look at my notes and her notes during a game, like we look at two completely different things.
Sure.
And maybe it's because I played it like more of a team sport. I know she was on a team sport too, but like I think sometimes our focuses go to different things. And so there's no comparison in that. But I also think that I have, and I know Anna does too, because she has this part, but I have a lot of empathy for a lot of the behind the scenes stuff.
For sure.
And I think a lot of people do, but when you've gone through it firsthand and kind of know just what like the nitty gritty part looks like and maybe just like the mental aspect of it, I think that really helps sometimes simplify a question for me even. I think sometimes if I'm stuck in a spot, I kind of put myself in that position and be like, okay, what would I be thinking about? Or like, what would this moment entirely mean to me if I'd gotten to this level? And sometimes I can't fathom that because I haven't even touched or scratched the surface of what it could be like to play in Omaha. But I think having that perspective definitely helps, especially when you do it your whole life. I think,
for sure.
You know, to watch like a person's dream come true. Like you don't have that experience, but you kind of do in a way. So I think being an athlete for sure gives me a few steps ahead, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's your passion, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and you've been in their shoes. It's like you work all the way up to a certain point and then you have to deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back in April,
Mhm.
I personally saw you doing some spring game stuff for Nebraska football, and you just said a few minutes ago you're going to be the correspondent. What exactly is a correspondent?
So that kind of just means that I will be like spearheading the coverage for our team. So I get to go to every game, home and away.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, big time.
It's like she has season tickets, but for every game.
Yeah, so I'm trying my best to figure out, we're trying to figure out how to get as much access as possible so I can actually do interviews and kind of, you know, maximize the reason why I'm there, right? Like, how am I going to bring people information that they're not going to get from the local reporter? Like, how do we get more here locally? And so that kind of thing. I mean, obviously there's a lot of guidelines. You can't have videos at this time or pictures at this time. So we're kind of trying to like break that down right now. It is our first season, so I'm really excited. I mean, you guys know this, but we have the honor of working with Damon. And so to have that perspective and try to figure out how we can collab with him, we have some ideas in mind, but it basically just means that I will kind of be the pinpoint person at the games, home and away, doing most of the coverage. And we don't do writing and stuff often, but it's kind of figuring out how to bring, I guess, maybe a new set of storytelling a little bit to maybe a fan base that we've created in the new branch. But yeah, kind of the person that'll be there out of everyone on our team, I guess.
The spearhead. You spearheading.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Hey, Trev, come here.
Yeah.
Sup? I'm the spearhead.
Which actually is cool though, because Trev was my AD when I was at school, so he knows me. Yeah.
Oh,
Trev knows.
Does that lead
he
to a
like
whole?
you?
Hey, did you know one thing? This podcast, we tit hard.
We do tit hard. We trust in Trev.
We trust in
I
Trev.
got really scared there, but yeah, that's
Listen, we have a lady on.
Sorry.
Come
I'm
on.
sorry.
That's fine.
Did we
I'm
tell Anna that we
sorry.
tit?
No, we never told
No, I
Anna that
don't
we
think
tit
so.
hard.
Well, Anna, we tit.
We tit
Hard.
I like
hard.
that.
I wanted to make
We
merch
trust
for
in
that.
Trev.
They told me no.
No, we're like,
Immediately.
it gives off the wrong vibe, but
Okay, I like
Like
that. People
weird
ask me,
vibe.
they're like, "Do you like Trev?" I'm like, "Well, he was my AD, so yeah."
So yeah, I trust in Trev. Yeah, I tit.
Yeah, I don't do that, but yeah.
Not quite that much. She has to be a neutral.
Yes.
Observer.
No, she
I
cannot
know.
be a Husker fan.
Okay,
I
and
know it's tough.
we asked Anna this. Is that going to be hard for you?
No, it won't be tough, but I think like I have to get out of a habit of like when Anna and I on our podcast say stuff, I say we, and I don't realize that I do it. But ever since I was like 5 years old, I'd be up in my dad's friend's face, I'd be like, well, we have 5 national championships. So
And we suck now.
and so I'm just like, no, I won't say that. But I think just ever since I've been younger, it's just we
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
I
You
gotta
identify with the team.
I gotta get that probably out of my head. But outside of that, yeah.
So every time I'm watching,
I'm gonna be listening.
I'm gonna be like, did she say we this time?
Yeah.
She said
And then
And
I'm gonna send,
we win.
and then I'm gonna send a response.
Yeah, we'll be the first ones to tweet at you.
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do the Breaking Bad where Walt is talking to Jesse and he goes, "We."
Yeah. What?
There is no we.
There's no we.
Crap.
So just
Yeah, should have
just
told
be
you guys
careful.
that.
Okay, so we love the juicy stories.
We do.
Okay, and so we want to know what is your we want to know.
Yeah, sorry.
We want to know. Do you have any blunders that come to mind?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, that was
Perfect. That was quick.
Yeah.
Well, it's recent actually. At the Oscars, we had Tony Veland was there, and he got inducted into the Oscars Hall of Fame, I guess. And the interview was fine, but I left it was the first time I left an interview, and I was like, I didn't like that. I shouldn't say first time, but it was like the most glaring. And I think it's because we're so wrapped up in this new era of football in Nebraska that it's like the first thing you want to ask anyone, like, what do you think? What are your thoughts? Like Matt Rule impression. And here he is getting inducted into like a Hall of Fame in his hometown. And I'm like, so what do you think of like what's going on in Lincoln? And he's like, it's a really hard question. You know, I haven't talked to Matt Rule personally yet. And I sat there and I was like, you're a fucking idiot. Don't ask him that
Why did you
question.
ask him about that?
Ask
Ask him about the award.
Yeah, and I should, and that wasn't my first question, but I just asked like what it was, like what it meant to him to, you know, you've been to a Super Bowl, you've won a national title, but like to be honored in your hometown, like how special was that? And then instead of transitioning into something completely different, I went straight to, you know, what are we going to win a national championship now?
Yeah.
And then I went back to.
You said we again.
We.
Crap.
There is no we.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, but let me defend you real quick.
Yeah.
Because what are the odds where he's going to be inducted into a Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
The very same year that we have a new head coach. We have a new head
You
coach.
guys can say it.
We're allowed to say
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, I
yeah.
don't think you're an idiot for
I think
asking that.
you judge yourself harsher, but I think when he went up there and he was speaking and talking about his experiences and stuff, I was already kind of kicking myself a little bit because I'd gone back. My third question was, when you were there in 94, 95, like if you could identify the team in 3 words, like what would you say? And he said like hard work, brotherhood, and I can't remember the next one, but he got up there on stage and gave a speech. And actually back again, my 4th question was about like your message to in-state recruits, like staying in the state versus going out, because you stayed in and like that's a big thing right now. I just went all over the place and that's what pissed me off. But he gets up there and he talks about like all the people that like paved the way for him and like his family members and everyone that was like there all the time for him, and just the bonds, relationships that he had in Nebraska. And I'd already been upset, and then hearing him talk about that, I'm like, idiot.
You missed
it's
out.
a Hall of Fame. Like talk about his family sitting right here. Like ask him like what this group of people means to him and how much they got him to the next level. Or, you know, there's Damon Benning is here and like a few of your other teammates are here and Johnny Rogers is here. Like, what's it mean to be in that group of people right now? Or like, and instead I just was like,
That's hindsight,
hold
though.
on.
You're being critical on yourself. That's hindsight.
well,
But here's the thing.
I had to drive 3 hours home to Kansas City and I like recited my questions like 400 times. And I was like,
Oh, you're being critical.
I know.
it's a special moment for a person. I felt like I kind of took it away from him and by being like, okay, so are we going to win a national championship this year?
You said we again.
Now, let me. Okay,
I'm
another
talking
thing.
about him. Okay. No,
Another thing too is like, I already know what he's gonna say when he says that. It means a lot.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, but then
I like your question better.
Yeah, if that was the case, I wish I would have done the 2 questions about his career. I didn't even get to ask him about the Super Bowl ring. Like,
Oh yeah, come on.
at least being in a Super
What's wrong
Bowl.
with
Like you were from Nebraska and you got to but
Yeah.
yeah.
You've learned from that.
I did. I totally did. And I texted Anna and she goes, how'd it go? Like, it looked really great. And I was like, yes, however. And she was like, hey, you learned. And I was like, yeah, I did. But like, yeah. But the other one is then in a hockey game, we were in a really close game. And at the intermission, I told coach congrats instead of good luck. And we were down 1 goal. But we'd come back from like 2. And I was like, congrats.
We?
No, Omaha.
Oh, but you said we.
I said Omaha.
Yeah.
I thought you said we.
What?
I'm
What?
colorblind.
What are you talking about? Because I went to to Omaha. I'm allowed to. Okay.
So my question, if it's going to be hard.
I'm not at the game. I'm talking to you guys. Okay. Omaha hockey had come back like 2 goals, and then we were down 1, but technically it felt like we won that period.
This is great.
It's like saying like I don't know how to do
I'm gonna
it.
start like counting.
It's almost a verbal filler, but you actually went there.
I
so
did.
it's accurate.
I went to Omaha. I am Omaha.
You are a maverick.
She has a school of journalism named after her.
Yeah.
We're just preparing you for the next level, all right?
Anywho, I was like,
We were like,
I don't know. Anyway, and I was like, congrats. Good luck. And then it was on the screen. He laughed and I walked away. The camera guy stayed on me.
he stayed on you.
He did because they
Of course
like,
he
didn't.
did.
Yeah.
Are you ever nervous about like a coach like treating you like Bo Pelini would, like just making you look dumb as hell?
You watched the game?
I will say it was like a big fear of mine once I realized that. So self-conscious right now to say we. It's not even a thing, but
Yeah. No, we're not gonna call you out anymore.
Yeah, that's it.
I was like, I didn't really know what reporting was, but watching like him talk to them, I would get freaked. I'm like, God, here we go. Like I would get nervous.
Right.
And I will say, like, I think my perspectives changed a little bit because he's like a college football legend. But there was a few years ago, I was like, I would want nothing to do with Nick Saban at halftime. Zilch.
Right.
And now I'm like, I'm kind of sick. I don't know.
Oh, be awesome.
But then like a year or 2 ago, I was like, well, who'd he yell at? Maria Taylor. And then he had to came out that public statement or something.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I guess that'd be pretty humiliating when you're on national television. But then again, everyone knew immediately like, okay, that you chill, bro.
Yeah,
But
you could try, but he's not gonna do it. So quit asking.
yeah, put on an
Right.
Aflac
What
commercial
else?
maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know. But yeah.
That would be my. I mean, that would
Yeah.
be my thing. I'd just be. I figure I would be the one that goes out there and go, "How do you think the game's going?" Like it just.
Yeah, because you went to the Anna Bellinghausen School of Journalism now, so you're good. You know how to ask questions at weddings, sporting events.
I learned this: who, what, when, where.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would
Sometimes,
ask,
yeah.
"Who are
Sometimes
we here
how-
watching today?" And Nick Saban would look at me, "Alabama, you dumb fuck." I'd be terrible.
I will say your we thing
Yeah.
reminds me of college. I went to school for mass communications, and my teacher, we would have to give public,
We?
you know,
Oh,
We?
so, yeah,
Well,
we.
it's
good.
hard.
No.
It's hard.
Nice.
Yeah, but like I'm actually talking about my classmates.
I was talking about
so they-
Omaha.
I would have to give a public speak on something, and anytime we would use verbal fillers where it's like
Yeah.
you know,
you know is my downfall.
you know, and
You know, no, I don't.
So
Actually,
she would sit there with a jar and she would throw pennies in it, and you would hear tink, tink,
no.
tink.
humiliating.
I will tell you how quick you can get rid of those things, and I'm terrible at it now because I'm so far out of practice. But
Yeah.
it was incredible.
You got pennies?
No, so I had to do the same thing in Nebraska.
Did
but
they do the same thing?
Instead of pennies, they would tase you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It was terrible. I considered dropping out multiple times. After a while, you learn to like it.
Oh, jeez.
You're throwing out Oz just because.
Connor's up there, like.
Wow.
Moving on.
Anywho,
Next. Sorry.
Well, no. I'm just. You're going to be spearheading Husker sports, and I'm excited for you.
I'm excited.
I'm
That's
excited
awesome. We have a contact. I get to talk
Seriously.
to people. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
That's what
pretty
I'm
cool.
saying.
I know. It is kind of weird to think about, like, because I'm not from here, so everyone's like, okay, so what do you think? I'm like, no, this is like a big deal. Like, I love college football. I
Right.
love Nebraska, but
Well-
not we.
That's right. Well, how do you think?
Yeah.
How do you think the Nebraska football team?
Mhm.
Record-wise, I mean, what are you thinking here?
You don't get to pick 6 and 6.
I'm
That
not
is a
going to.
rule. Well, I was going to see if she's going to pick 6 and 6, and then we call her out.
Honestly, I don't. Maybe I've been around him a little much, or maybe listened to a lot of Damon speak. But I
Kool-Aid.
think that he's got me to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to pick a record, you know. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
we're just. But I truly, I'm probably not alone on this. But I just don't think we can go backwards. Like, I genuinely don't think we're going to go backwards. Like, and if we do, it'll be for different reasons. But I just genuinely don't think, with the accountability, responsibility, like, just I think. I don't know, call it cheesy, but like just love that's in the program again, or like just leadership. I mean, I know we're seeing it from an outside perspective, but like watching him talk and being at practices, you're just like, oh, okay.
Adult is in the room.
100%. And I think think I can share this, but we were at practice, and it was my first ever practice, and it was cold. So they have the garage doors open in Hawks or whatever, and they have like a certain sound that goes off to let everyone know that like they're either starting warm-ups or they're going to the position groups, one or the other. Like it's not a whistle and it's not someone whatever. At least that's what I observed from the first day. Also my first football practice, and I'm like,
Yeah, there's a million things going on.
People are running around with their cameras like sprinting. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And I'm just like sitting watching one like whatever, and people are like, and I'm like, oh my God, like, do I have to run to go to the next thing? I don't know. Like, is this expected? I don't know. And there's just like 100 media members in there. But anyway, so he like is kind of freaking out about something, and then asks everyone to put their cameras down. And he was like, I love that you guys are in here. He's like, I love that, you know, you guys care about us and you're going to give us coverage, but like, I need this moment with my team. I want you guys to be at stuff, but like, I don't need everything out there. And he'd cussed, I think. And that's kind of what he just didn't maybe went out there, and he pulled the team together, and he said, hey, I know I kind of let your guys' asses up a little bit about not being in the same place or the right place, whatever. I didn't realize that it was a coach fault. I didn't communicate to my coaches correctly. He's like, that's on me. He's like, my favorite thing about this team right now is that you guys respond when I ask, and I hold you guys accountable. So I'm going to hold my coaches accountable today. That's on me. I'll take this one. He's like, I can't expect the highest level from you guys if you're not getting it from me. He's like, that's it. I'm sorry. And then he kind of went into some like little things he saw that he didn't like, just very kind of small things. Like, he kind of threw a jab. It was kind of funny. We still have cameras down, like no one's recording. And he was like, something about, you know, you can't pick and choose which day to show up. He's like, it's going to be cold most of the season. Like, he's like, I know this is new to you guys, but when you guys go out there, you don't get to like slack. Like, we're going to play Iowa when it's freezing. Like, I need, you know, we don't get to pick and choose. And he's like, I'm going to have some of you in the end of the spring meetings come in here, and I'm going to be like, yeah, well, you didn't choose to work hard on the cold day, and like, we can't have that, like, whatever. And then he talked about what people were wearing. I don't know what the dress code is. I don't know if they're not wearing like sleeves. I don't know what it was. I couldn't hear that part, but I wish I knew what it was. But then he was like, I don't know if you guys have noticed. He's like, no offense, but like doing whatever you want in the past few years hasn't worked too well for you guys or something like that.
Is he wrong though?
Yeah.
No.
And so and he was like, I'm just saying, like, we're going to do things as a team. Like, everything is team driven. We're going to look alike. We're going to come in here and do things like, we are not going to be an individual anything. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, are we good? And then they all came in and prayed, and it was like business. And so I was like, okay, I like it. So,
yeah, I love that.
And that was my first practice. And so I was like, all right, so we can't get worse, I don't think.
Right.
So, and that was like, I didn't watch one rep. I watched them kick their leg in there and then get pulled in. And I was like, okay. So I don't know if we need to cut that out, but
no, absolutely not.
I don't know. I don't know what's allowed or not allowed when cameras are down. But anyway, now you guys know.
I mean, I don't think there's a person in the country that thinks, you know, coaches don't cuss.
No,
you
that or just that he wanted that like personal message, not on camera. So
yeah,
I don't know. But
we'll figure it out.
You guys got a little insight.
Hey, he's
there,
my father-in-law's buddy, so we're good.
Yeah.
I'm happy to finally have a Husker coach that is willing to cuss.
Yeah, right. Everyone else has been squares.
That's the
really
baseline
tough.
for
Yeah.
you.
Oh yeah, none of them ever done that before.
Never
Especially
seen it
that guy
once.
with the big nose.
Yeah,
I'm right here.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess a long-winded answer to say I just don't know if I have a record in mind, but I just don't see us
It's a
going
thumbs
back.
up.
Yeah. And you guys probably see it too, but like watching all the players talk afterwards, like after practices, like I think there was over 7 of them in that first week that I was there that like they would throw in, I love this coaching staff, or I love this team right now. I don't know if we were really there last year. I don't really think I can say confidently that kids were like, I love this coaching staff.
Well, you know, like
you never heard anyone for the past 4 years say unless I'm wrong, I haven't heard anybody say, I love Scott Fuck. I love this staff. Like,
Garrett Nelson did.
Yeah.
You're
there
right.
you go.
Yeah, you're
He
right.
did.
Garrett Nelson.
He would take a bullet for
That's
that
true.
guy, former
true.
head coach
That's-
Scott. He would take a bullet for him.
That's one thing that Jared, I think to your point, one thing that I talk about all the time is there is a difference between liking a coach and supporting a coach. Two wildly
We're
different
loving
things.
him.
Yeah.
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 Trust, like was still a
Like-
stretch.
No, right. But I like the word love was like,
Yeah.
I love. And I was like,
Yeah.
That's strong.
So
Yeah.
something that like I've been kind of conscious of is it seemed like all 5 years there was something that went wrong And it always came out in the media. Everybody was always talking about it. Let's talk about cheating on special teams and doing all this stuff, right? It seemed like every year there was something that popped up that was like controversial or
the workouts, guys got injured during workouts because they got sent to the hospital. Rhabdo.
Right. There was always just some bad news that came out, and I'm not necessarily like waiting for something like that to happen because I'm so conditioned, but I think that's a plus at least that we have not heard any controversy or bad news or the NCAA is not investigating us and like
they practice too much.
Yeah.
Because we hired someone who's capable of being a head coach.
Yeah.
Well, when you have a guy that wants to be the CEO and he's like, and this is the thing that was probably his downfall at Carolina was he was the dude where he was trying to oversee everything and try to tell grown men what to do. In the NFL, that doesn't work. But at college, you're the CEO. Nothing happens without your knowledge.
Right.
And so when you have a guy that is like that,
there isn't a front office where deals are being made, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in charge.
I think beyond that, like it's hard. We talk about this a lot, but like he's a developer and he likes the like process part, and you don't really have time to do that in the NFL. Like he talked about that one time. He was like, I was like wanting to like help a kid, like, hey, I think you get some more practice time or whatever. And then I got a guy coming down to me like, hey, he's got to go. And you're like, no, I just got to know this guy. Like I want him to do well, where I think that's probably why he gets to be successful at a college level. It's like, he's like, no, I can work with this kid. I can get him there. So I think he did get that CEO reputation just because it's like he also talks about how much he likes to be in the community and like be in everything. And I think people were like, why are you at all these things? Like stop. And I think he just like enjoyed it. I think like being a normal human being on top of that, you kind of lose that right a little bit as an NFL head coach, unfortunately. I shouldn't say right, but it's just not as normal.
The ability.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. People were like, I don't want to have this much access to you. Like go work. I don't know. But.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of like you see him at WrestleMania and he's at a concert. He's on stage with whoever that country artist was.
Kenny Chesney?
Kenny Chesney, that guy.
Yeah.
That guy. It's like, yeah, there's a part that is like cool. Like it seems like he wants to be here. And we've said this many times. He's more Nebraskan than the previous guy who grew up in Wood River, Nebraska.
That's wild.
Kind of weird.
I will say
But it's like
this.
on the other hand, it's like, can you get to work? Because we kind of suck.
Look, that's I was just getting ready to go there. It's going to be one of those things where if we start losing crazy,
I know.
everybody's going to be like everything that they love about him now, they're going to hate him for.
Maybe if you weren't at WrestleMania watching Triple H go like this,
Yeah.
we would have won 2 more games.
Right. Yeah, I'm just waiting for it. Yeah.
Have I said
that's the other shoe, by the way.
Yeah.
I think I have said this every episode for the last month.
Oh boy.
When
I
you
love
go
Scott.
and get a new quarterback, talking about Mr. Sims, you got to give him 2 years before you really get a good read on how he's going to do.
He
For a head coach,
still doesn't have 2 years.
for a head coach, you got to give him 3. You like
3's been his like lucky number.
Yeah. And if you
Third
look
season.
at like his first season at Temple and his first season at Baylor,
I
was
do
he
think-
making waves? Not
I think
really.
we're ahead of that, hopefully.
I hope so.
I think
We're
so.
not coming. I mean, we're
Yeah.
coming off a little bit of a scandal, but not a sexual scandal. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, nothing that
I hope it
crazy.
like nothing like crazy. I don't.
Right.
And
Yeah.
listen, Temple's not. It's not a destination.
Temple's not Nebraska. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the third year, that's when the 2025 schedule is like, oh,
Holy fuck.
Okay.
Here we go.
so like if
We'll go
Rule is
8-0
on,
that year, that's fine.
And by 2025, Dylan Raiola will be in the portal. So
Right.
we got another run at it.
Right. Okay. So you said you're traveling to all the games this year. So, I mean,
Colorado.
we're going to be in.
What's your destination? Like where are you excited to go cover?
I hate to admit it, but Colorado.
Okay.
I don't blame you.
Why would you
I
hate to
well, I
admit
shouldn't
that?
say hate, but like it's just like that's so much hype. I watched the Coach Prime documentary last week.
and you are bought in.
I'm not bought in, but I was being a little critical, I think. However, I don't know how much of it's in like a show and an act.
It's
you know?
all a show.
I know.
It's
but,
all
like,
a show.
I will
Dion's
say,
whole
when you
life.
watch though, you're kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Like that one song, he's like
Yeah.
the SWAC one.
Mhm.
I was like, this is kind of good.
I mean, she's like this. She's like, what side?
Yeah. No, I'm not going to say that at all. I think everything that's going on there is like, what the heck? But
Seems like a circus.
It does. But I think like when you kind of like, yeah. But like my dad grew up in that, like his rise. And so like my dad's very critical right now. And he's like, I used to love this guy. And
Yeah.
to watch this video a little bit and just kind of, I don't have much experience outside of like literally him becoming the Colorado head coach and then all the back and forth shit talk that Nebraska and Colorado do. And so I think to watch this and kind of get an aspect of who he was as a coach and then how like much people valued him as a player and stuff, since I don't have like that perspective to then be like, okay, I'm going to be on the same field as Deion Sanders. That's like,
it is pretty cool.
You know?
Yeah.
Your dad saw Deion come to Memorial Stadium in the 80s when the Florida State played Nebraska. So it's just like,
well, my dad was also,
realize.
he was an Atlanta Braves fan too. So that's why.
there
And
you
so
go.
like
Okay.
he's got the whole, and so he was like, but now he's like 56 transfers. Like that guy sucks. And I'm like, yeah, he does, I'm sure. But I'm like,
God,
but
I hope he does.
I know. But I told him, I know. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to like sway you at all. But I'm like, I feel like maybe you should just watch it to like just give you like just a different perspective. Like
Right.
I go, if I'm gonna have this strong of opinion, I probably should be educated a little bit. And I don't know. Like he basically like narrates the documentary, so I don't know how truthful it is, but it's definitely like
Of course. Deion narrates a
well,
show about
at
Deion.
first I was like, wow, these are really good sound bites they got. And then after a while, I put the captions on and it was like narrator. And I was like,
Oh,
got it.
and I was
literally
like,
is Deion.
He literally is, So I was like, okay.
It starts off with a very handsome coach
Yeah.
who's super
Yeah.
smart and talented.
Yeah.
With only 4 toes.
His leg is jacked
It
up.
is weird. So I think after watching that a little bit, like the Colorado hype's kind of there, and not like for me to like for Colorado. It's more like, okay, now I have like this added hype that like I hope we,
Well, look, other
take
than
it to
the piss balloons that they throw in Boulder, it's a
and the
beautiful
spin.
college town.
Yeah.
With the mountains and all that crap.
And they're
All that
technically
crap.
accredited.
Yeah.
I'll be there next week.
We have the Bluffs.
Are you guys going?
Oh, to the Boulder game?
No,
I wanted to.
No.
We will be in Minnesota though.
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay.
Okay.
See
We're
us
doing a
again.
live show at the Husker Bar in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So if you want to come in and be on our show.
We will be there. So you told you.
Yeah, it'll be like a noon or 1 o'clock show for the 7 o'clock game. So you can come in, hang out at a Husker Bar with
So here's my
Us,
dilemma. Yeah, we will be there. Here's my dilemma. So the 30th is volleyball day in Nebraska.
Yeah.
I have to be there.
Oh, then wow.
I
Good
will
luck.
either fly that night or that morning to Minnesota, cover that game, and then my college teammate is getting married in Grand Island on Sunday or on Saturday.
I was
Oh,
like, who
boy.
gets married on a Sunday?
Sorry. No, but her wedding is on the Saturday because the Husker game's on the Friday, obviously. But Friday is my birthday. We
The
play
Husker game's on a
Minnesota.
Thursday, actually. So
So I'm coming.
Okay.
the Husker game's on a Thursday.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Her wedding is on.
Saturday.
No, Husker volleyball day is on.
No, that's on
30th.
Wednesday.
30th. Okay, you're right.
Yes, it's a Wednesday, a Thursday.
Yeah.
Then you have
Yeah.
Friday to
Yeah.
recoup, and then Saturday the wedding.
No, her wedding is on the first Friday night.
A Friday night one.
Yeah,
That's a weekend.
Anywho, I know. But
Okay.
When do you get married in the weekday?
No,
I
I'm
got
just-
married
no,
on a
I'm just
Wednesday.
saying- no, I'm saying that's just a
Fun
long,
fact.
He's
long ass
like, that's a weekend.
I did get married on a Wednesday. Fun
Was
fact.
it destination?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That doesn't count.
But yeah, so volleyball day in Nebraska, and then my birthday and the first game, and then I get to come back. But I'm hoping to be there one way or another. So
Okay.
Okay.
So
R.I.P. your
one
brother.
way or another, we're gonna meet up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
We'll go see the town.
What's the bar called?
Lions Pub.
Lions Pub.
Shout out to Lions Pub. It is the only Husker bar in Minneapolis, Minnesota. You will find us there doing a live show the day of the game.
The dartboard is actually just a picture of PJ Fleck's face.
Perfect.
The one pre-surgery.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Or however many.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
Have you seen him? He looks weird.
I know. Yeah.
He's a
Sorry,
punch
I don't
bowl
know.
face.
I mean, like I know.
handsome
I'm kidding.
Squidward.
Okay, I think we're at a.
If you're gonna spearhead Husker coverage, you got to get on
Talk
the
shit.
PJ Fleck, anti-PJ Fleck train.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even though he
I don't
kicks
think she
Nebraska's
gets to do
ass.
that now.
That's true.
No, she actually
We
can't do that.
Get
Yeah, I
to.
can't.
We can.
We
she
get
cannot.
to.
Yeah,
For all
she's
you know, I might like Minnesota. I don't
maybe row the boat. No,
Well, you guys have anything
she said
else?
that, not me. No, I think that's a good point.
know. No,
to,
I'm joking. I can't be too biased.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
This is a good point of the show where you get to kind of plug yourself, talk about yourself at all, where people can find you, etc.
Okay. Like just like my social.
Your
media
social,
stuff?
yeah, social media
Yeah,
stuff.
not like your
if you want.
address.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
You said he
We-
said talking to myself.
My
I'm like, I don't-
social.
Yeah, talk
What
about
are your
yourself.
hobbies?
Yeah.
I think everything is Avery Howard 31, and it's AVARIE just because
Was that your number in
Creative.
soccer?
31. Yeah,
Okay.
it's also my birth date number.
Dang.
And it's not how old I am.
Is that why
'Cause
you
I'm
picked
older
the
than
number?
I wanted to be Mia Hamm's number 9, because that's what I was growing up, and then I played up a year because of the weird birthday split thing. And so the girls that were older than me she had number 9. And so I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, I was like, perfect. Like, I'm not joining that team. Like, I'll go back to my other team.
For number 9.
Yeah. And then my mom was like, I gave them 31. And I was like, why? And she's like, well, it's your birth date. It's the first thing I could think of. And then from that point on, it just stuck. So, I mean.
And it's tattooed on your hand. I was supposed to ask you. I was wondering what 31 was, and I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
And then you said that, and it took away my question.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So my career ended. I was 21 at Omaha, but because that was the highest we could go, I guess.
Weird.
But yeah. So,
Well, you have to reuse those jerseys, you know.
yeah. I have, yeah. Anyway, salty a little bit about it, but yeah.
Okay, so Hurrdat, you can. We see you all over the place.
Oh, so am I supposed to be giving socials? Is that what?
Twitter.
Yeah, just plug
Insta.
yourself. Where are
Every-
people going to find you?
everything
How are you going to
is-
get famous if they can't find
I
you?
could tell them, but
Everything is Avery Howard 31.
Perfect.
You're on Twitter, Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah, I would just leave it at that.
No TikTok.
okay.
Not really. No.
That's just
Me
Hurrdat
either.
sports in general.
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right. Well, Avery Howard, the Nebraska football correspondent for Hurrdat Sports. Woo! Apparently. Didn't know that until tonight.
We love that.
Hell yeah. Thank you for coming on the
thanks,
No
guys.
Block No Rock podcast.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
You know, usually this is like my gig, right?
Yeah.
At the end of every
Hey,
episode.
you got to say thank you, Troy.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. But I mean, seriously though, like we talked to Anna last week and we listened to the journey, and now we talked to you this week and we listened to this journey of just you two just like building this whole thing and taking the initiative to lead the way for female broadcasters, reporters in sports. And like I told you, it makes me want to run through like a wall. Like it's exciting. So
the Union Omaha had a all women's panel last week, and Anna was the moderator, and it was kind of weird because I was like on the panel to fill like the soccer player role kind of, and there were so many questions that she asked that I like wanted to turn them around and be like, Anna, what do you think? Because there's so many things that we've talked about, and I could see her over there sitting like whatever. And
Itching
so finally at the end, she was like, some people started clapping at our answers, and she's like, well, I kind of want to run through a wall right now. So
yeah. It's just so awesome. So, you know, Chris has told us, he speaks very highly of you and Anna. And so we were excited to have you on the podcast, and we appreciate your time.
well, thanks for thinking of me, guys. This has been so fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Glad you had fun. Glad you didn't leave early.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There was a
She
halftime.
thought about it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Okay, guys. Well, Twitter at NBNR Podcast, Instagram at NBNR Podcast, TikTok at NBNR Podcast. Merch.
Well, okay, look, we're ordering merch. I've got holes in this shirt. It's time for this to go.
can see 'em.
Literal holes in this thing because it's so old. So
So that's the old stuff. That's the old stuff.
The old stuff.
We're ordering merch. We're getting some photos put out there. We're gonna make a little video. We're gonna sponsor. You know, we're gonna
We're going to show it off.
we're gonna show it off. We're gonna
Yeah.
give you the link and you can order some
All right.
merch.
Good
Yeah.
shit. Good shit.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Let's sign off.
That's it.
I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Mike Delaware.
Kyle Byers.
Connor Cadillac.
Avery Howard.
As always, beat Minnesota and GBR forever.
Forever. What